So in today's presentation, I'll be talking about taxonomies as it relates to information architecture. And before we go into depth about taxonomies, I'll be just giving a basics overview of information architecture and basically what we've been studying so far. Information architecture can be described as the art of focusing on organizing, structuring, and labeling content in an effective and sustainable way. Why is IA important? It is necessary to help users understand where they are and what they found and what to expect. Good IA helps with clarity and helping the user understand how to navigate the interface. That's essential if they're carrying out tasks or looking for information on your website. So how is information architecture structured? Basically, there are four important key components. So there is organization schemes and structures, which is a category of information on the interface. Labeling systems, which is how information is presented. Navigation systems, this is how a user will look for and browse information. Search systems, which is an opportunity for users to search for keywords, missing phrases, etc. All right, taxonomy. So taxonomy is a hierarchical structure for a classification of organization of data. If you are somewhat a little involved in like health sciences or biology, this is a word that's pretty common that is used to classify, plants and animals according to a set of natural relationships. But in IA, taxonomy is a little different. It deals with the organizing of content. It's just a hierarchical structure of content, but with most complex content ecosystems, the term also often refers to metadata and controlled vocabularies. So what is metadata? Metadata describes an asset and provides a meaningful set of attributes that can be used to further classify or consume content. And a controlled vocabulary is a restricted list of words or terms used for indexing or categorizing, often with cross-reference pointing from a non-preferred term to the preferred term. So what's the relationship with taxonomy and information architecture as they exist on a whole? So information architecture represents the structure of a website as exposed to the user or others. Taxonomy represents the information architecture of that website. So in this slide, I'll be talking about what taxonomy is not, just to give a better understanding of what it actually is. So taxonomy is not a sitemap. A sitemap can be the end result of a taxonomy exercise, but sitemaps don't deal with definition of words or how certain features are related to others. That being said, a good taxonomy can inform a good sitemap and ensure easy navigation for any digital product. A taxonomy is not a content inventory. What is content inventory? It's usually a list of all the physical contents that are presented on the site. Taxonomy, on the other hand, organizes the content, which may help determine what content is important, but taxonomies don't have to deal with every single little piece of content. Taxonomy is not a list of keywords. Taxonomies can help find keywords that actually resonate with the user, but keywords and search rankings are just one part of the benefits of creating a taxonomy. Keywords alone won't help identify the relationships between different site areas and features, while a full taxonomy exercise aims to do just that. So, how does good taxonomy come about? A good taxonomy is typically a collaboration between UX designers, content strategists, information architects, marketing team, and developers as well. And I know in this course you've been talking a lot about the different roles that are within UX that also influence information architecture. So it's good to know that it's a collaboration between all these roles. The first thing you need for a good taxonomy is to know what is being classified, which may take the form of a content inventory. And then the next thing to do, it's important to learn how users are actually accomplishing tasks on the site. But how do we go about learning what those tasks are? Okay. So there are different ways to gather information on users. One is interviews. So user interviews are a great setting to ask users how they find products and listen for what vocabulary and terminology they use. Users may also refer to features in different ways and have very different ways of finding those features. So it's important to pay close attention to terms that interviewers use to describe the subject matter. For example, a customer on an e-commerce site might refer to their shopping cart as a bag or a checkout. Make a note of these variations that will impact the terms used in the taxonomy exercise. A sitemap is also a good way to gather information. A sitemap will help create a holistic view of the website or app by mapping out each page in a site's navigation. You can begin to see subpages that don't belong within their sections, which is a sign of a site navigation that isn't following a clear taxonomy. If someone has already created a sitemap, they may have a taxonomy in mind or justifications for why sections are organized the way they are. Learning all this early on decreases the likelihood of accidentally reinventing the wheel or the website or app. Content inventory. So typically appears as a spreadsheet that lists out every page on a website. Each page gets its own line, and sometimes every content element does as well, including headers, body text, articles, buttons, search navigation bars, interactive elements. Each type of content may then get additional notes, including metadata, which is like a usefulness score, and alternative terms for the item. Then we have competitive analysis, and this talks about how the competition organizes or does things and how they essentially get their website or app to work for their given mission or end goals. So always remember that someone else's successful site structure might not directly be applicable to your own, but can still offer some insight into how it's organized. Card sorts. So this is one of the best ways to learn how end users might identify and create categories. And this is usually done by just taking like 30 index cards and writing down each term, topic, or phrase, and then ask end users such as developers or markets to sort these into categories. You can also ask, and users that are interacting with the app as well. So sort these into categories that they come up with. In my experience, even just 5% participants will start to help identify key patterns and categories. Larger organizations might do upwards of 75 to get statistically significant results, but it will depend on the size and the scope of the product. I recommend Optimal Sort or Trello or even a good old pen and paper for initial card sorts.